Welcome to Arts District. I'm your host, Carrie Saldo. Etched photography. That's how Denver's Lisa Garness Mallory categorizes her work. While a traditional etching would require a metal plate, Garness Mallory uses a needle to dig into the surface of her photographs. She scratches those printed images, often of vibrant flowers, removing color to create depth, and her finished product. Pictures and pointy things aside, she says determination and curiosity are just as important to her artistic process. We caught up with Garness Mallory at one of her favorite places to begin that process, Denver Botanic Gardens.
Oh my gosh, look. Wow, that's exciting because I like these. When I started this process, I would call it an answer to prayers. One night, it just came to me, I wonder what would happen if I would use needles to start etching off the emulsion of my digital photography. I discovered that I could enhance lines and textures, as well as create depth and light. When you first look at it, the naked eye can't see all the detail until I use a macro lens. And then the detail is what I concentrate on etching. I call my art form etched photography, but it's basically altering and enhancing my photograph. It alters the image by the white marks that I'm making. Every white mark on my photographs is my creative mark. My work has been called feminine yet edgy. My main love is nature. I'll never divert from that, especially florals and butterflies and deer. I seem to have a way with animals. I actually would get extremely close to my subjects, you know, deer, elk, and it's interesting how they seemed to understand that I wasn't going to hurt them. I feel a connection spiritually. I don't know how else to explain that. And I just think it's a God-given gift. The reason the orchids are my favorite flower is because sometimes they take on the look of, this one looks like a little child sitting on the edge of the leaf with their legs hanging over. And orchids to me are like the epitome of femininity. The way that they're shaped, their laciness, the lines and the textures, and I love macro because I can put the camera in the middle of the flower and get every little detail. Some people think you have to have a very expensive camera in order to be able to call yourself a professional, and I don't agree with that. This camera has done well for me as far as my macro shots. Since my etching involves taking away color in order to enhance the flower, then I try to get a darker shot. The darker, the better. I survived 2 life-threatening illnesses in 2010, and according to my physician, it's a miracle that I'm alive. Half the reason I fought to live was to continue my artist journey. I discovered, because I had a slight brain injury, that I had forgotten how to do my etching technique. So I used the work that I had done prior to my illness to relearn. During the year that I was recovering, my work was juried into my first 2 international shows. So as I was relearning my process, I was also evolving the process. I like to take certain areas that are already standing out from the photograph and create depth with that. So I have to be very cognizant of that, because if I etched everything the same, it would come out flat. I know it sounds maybe a little strange to say that I look at my work like a child in a way, but as I'm working on each piece, I get very emotionally attached to each one, because I know that I'm developing it, and each mark that I make might be some new mark. But you know, my goal is to have each piece go to a forever home. Oh, this is perfect. Another effect that I love, if I can get it on flowers, any breed, is water, because I'll etch around each water drop. Although I classify myself as a fine art photography artist, I'm considered a pioneer in both the fine art and fine art photography mediums. And when I saw my large pieces hanging on the wall of KUVO Art Gallery, it was breathtaking for me. That's the first time that I had ever had my work enlarged that size. It was definitely a milestone in my career. When you have that within yourself, it's a drive, it's a passion, and you don't want to give that up. Every artist, that's part of them as a person. Art can bring you through the illness because it gives you moments you don't even think about your suffering. I mean, it gives you a want to live so that you can continue what you do for future generations to enjoy. That's how I am. I'm like, oh, yes. Okay, I got really excited about that. Oh my gosh.
I'm Carrie Saldo. Like Arts District on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and come back here to our studio next week.
Arts District is a collaboration between Rocky Mountain PBS and public radio stations KUNC and KUVO KVJZ.